Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we have another product review for you, and this time it is the SpyPoint Flex cellular trail camera. So I'm going to cover all the key features on this, really give you an overview, and then at the end of the video we're going to show some pictures, some videos, so that you guys can really see what this thing is capable of. And by the end of it, you should have a pretty good idea as to whether or not this is going to be something that you want to purchase for this upcoming deer season. Okay, so we've got it out of the box now, and I just want to start by going over a few of the key features before we really get in depth. So to start off, this camera has a 0.3 second trigger speed. Now that's pretty fast. About the fastest you'll see is maybe 0.25 second, like a quarter of a second. This is closer to a third of a second, but it definitely does get slower. Some of them get out to a half a second, maybe even closer to 3/4 of a second. I know that's kind of splitting hairs a little bit, but anybody who has been running trail cameras for a while knows that sometimes that little fraction of a second can make a big difference, because you can miss stuff just in that fraction of a second. If a deer is running through, or if it gets kind of close to the camera, some of that trigger speed can be a factor. So overall, it has a very quick relative trigger speed as compared to a lot of the other cameras on the market. And to go along with that, it has a 100-foot flash range and detection range, meaning at night it can flash, you'll be able to see out to 100 feet, and during the day or at night, the detection range is 100 feet. So if something moves around 100 feet away, this will pick it up and you'll be able to get a picture of it. Now that's also pretty far. A lot of them can have a similar range. You might see anywhere from 80 to 100. You're not really going to see much higher than 100. So once again, compared to other cameras, this is really, really good in that regard. So this camera is also capable of taking and transmitting pictures and videos. And that's something that is going to be a little bit harder to come by when it comes to cell cams, because most of them are going to be able to take pictures just fine and transmit them, over the internet. But as far as videos, those are much bigger files. It can be a lot harder to transmit those. But this one has that capability. Now the pictures are taken in 33 megapixels. That might not mean a lot to you, but in reference, some of the other trail cameras like the Cuttybacks, I know are a really big name brand. Those are about 20 megapixels as compared to this, which is 33. So I know people who have the Cuttybacks, and I've heard them say many times, like, man, these pictures just look a little bit blurry to me. I don't know what's going on. Well, it's a little bit of a lower quality photo. This is 33 megapixels. It's going to be a lot better. Now the video is 1080p. Once again, maybe that doesn't mean anything to you, but the video that you are watching right now on the screen that you're watching it on right now is 1080p. Meaning whatever quality this looks like right now is what these videos are going to look like when they show up. So it has a really good quality photo and video option, and that's a pretty big feature in my opinion. So now let's go a little bit more in depth on this camera, and let's start off with the best feature that this camera has, one that's, to my knowledge, unmatched by any other cell cam on the market today, and that is the fact that this camera will use whichever cell service is the strongest in that particular area. So typically when you go and buy a cell camera, you're going to be buying one that's made for a particular service provider, whether it's Verizon, AT&T, whatever it is. You're usually going to be buying a camera that is specific to that provider. So if you buy one that's for Verizon and the Verizon service sucks in your area, you're not going to be getting very good pictures. Well, this eliminates that issue. You just buy one camera and it has the ability to feel out all of the possible service providers in that area. You go set it up, you put it on the tree or on a tripod or whatever you like to use for these. You put it out in the woods, and this thing can actually test which service provider has the strongest signal in that one spot, and that's what it's going to use. And it also has the capability to change that. I know sometimes it can be a little bit weird, but if you've spent any amount of time hunting in areas that have spotty service, sometimes it can be really great, sometimes it can be really poor. So when you initially set this up, it might say, yep, Verizon looks awesome right now, we're going to go with that. and then maybe eventually the Verizon kind of drops off a little bit. Well, it has the capability to keep searching. So if all of a sudden one day it switches and Verizon is bad, AT&T has a stronger signal in that area, it will automatically switch so that it's using the strongest provider to send you pictures. And that is a huge feature because these cameras are great and they'll take great pictures no matter what. But the point of having a cell camera is that the pictures are transmitted to your phone in real time, so that if a deer is walking past this camera and it takes that picture, it's going to send you that picture at that very moment. If you have really weak signal and you don't have the ability to get those pictures, it kind of loses the point of being a cell camera. And one of the major issues with that is the service provider, but this has the capability of diagnosing which one is going to be the best and strongest signal, and also changing it if the strongest signal happens to change. This is a huge feature and probably the main selling point on this SpyPoint Flex. Alright, so now I've got it opened up. As you can see, you've got the battery compartment underneath down here, and it also exposes all of these buttons now. And these are another one of the key features to this SpyPoint Flex and what makes it so great. So you'll notice you have a format button right here. So when you put your SD card in there, usually SD cards need to be formatted to fit whatever device it's on. Well, this now can do that automatically. So you put the SD card in, you press the format button, and it's going to format the SD card. That eliminates another issue. Sometimes if the SD card goes bad or it's not formatted properly, that could be another reason why you are not receiving pictures in real time, why this camera maybe doesn't send you pictures at all. It could be an SD card issue, and this format button should help to eliminate that. Another awesome feature that it has is this test button. So you can now set this up and you can use the test button to make sure that it's working before you walk away from the tree. We've had issues with this in the past where we get this set up, we put a camera out, and the signal looks like it's all right, it's going to be good. You walk in front of it once or twice and yep, okay, you know, it's probably going to send us pictures, it's a little spotty. And then we leave, and that afternoon, don't get anything. The next day, don't get anything. The next day, nothing. And you know that there's been activity there. You know, at the very least, a squirrel has walked by or leaves have blown around that would trigger the camera. You know it should be sending you pictures, but it's not. And this test button now allows you to be much more sure that where you have it set up is going to be okay signal-wise. You can actually test it and make sure of that. And that's another huge feature to make sure, once again, that you're actually getting pictures, because if you have a cell camera set up in the woods that isn't sending you pictures, there's really no point. So SpyPoint has done a great job between the service provider ability, the capability to pick the best one and switch it if need be, the ability to format your SD card, test the strength of the signal. All of these things are huge improvements that SpyPoint has made from their original products, and improvements that have been made beyond what any other company can produce, that allows you to really be sure that you're going to be getting the maximum potential out of your cell camera. Alright, so let's cover just a few more key features of this camera before we actually test it out and see what kind of pictures and videos it can take. So another feature this thing has is it's GPS enabled, so it will always know where the device is. So if for some reason it gets stolen, or maybe it kind of walks away somehow on its own, whatever the case may be, maybe you set it up and you don't visit it for 6 months, and now you can't remember what tree you even put it on. Maybe it's not in a location where you have a deer stand, or maybe you put it up in the spring, and by the time fall rolls around or late summer when you're going to be hanging deer stands, you don't remember where it is. Well, this thing is GPS enabled, so you'll be able to tell exactly where it is at all times. Now, the GPS feature can be seen through the SpyPoint app, and that's another difference that SpyPoint has between some other cell cam brands. I know Tacticam specifically, I know people who have a Tacticam set up, and what it usually does is it just sends them pictures to their, through a text message basically. So every now and then they'll get like half a dozen or a dozen pictures sent to them as a text message. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's a problem there. But SpyPoint actually has an app where all of the photos, all the videos get transmitted to. And that can be really nice because it organizes all the pictures in one spot. You can filter through. So if you only want to see it from one camera, let's say you're running 6 cameras, 6 SpyPoints. Well, all those pictures are going to be in one gallery, but let's say you want to see specifically what's been on one camera and have all of those pictures just separately in a gallery. You can switch that over. The app also has a feature where it can detect different species, so and even different types. So, like for instance, with deer, it can tell the difference between a buck and a doe. And I found that it can do that with relative accuracy. So if you're getting just a ton of pictures and you want to be able to just scroll through, you know, let's say you're at work. You don't get the chance to check your phone all day. The end of the day rolls around, you go home and you see you've got 200 pictures from all your cameras that are out and about. You say, well, maybe I really only want to see the bucks that have shown up today. You can filter that out so that it will only show you the bucks that have shown up, and it actually has the technology to determine which ones are bucks and which ones are does, and I've found that it does that with pretty high accuracy. It doesn't miss too many bucks. More so what'll happen is it might think that a deer is a buck when it's really not because of branches behind it or something, but I've found that to be not a super frequent occurrence. For the most part, it does a pretty good job with that. Some other key features with this app are their weather data. So you can actually set the camera up and it will tell you specifically what the weather is doing at that one spot. So I know for us, we hunt a ways away from where we actually live. So we can go on our phones and put in the city where our hunting property is and see what the weather looks like there. But I mean, there's still a wide variation of weather that's possible. You know, just looking at an overall city, this knows specifically based on the GPS exactly right where it is and can tell you what the exact weather is in that spot. It's going to give you the temperature, precipitation, a lot of things like that. And so that can be another really key feature. It's not the main selling point, but it is a nice feature to have at times. All of their photos and videos are going to be stamped with the date, the time, the moon phase, and the temperature. That's a pretty standard thing nowadays. Most cameras, whether they're cell cameras or not, stamp all of those pictures with all those features, but it is nice to have. As far as mounting the camera goes, you do have a few options. It does come with the strap that can be looped through here, wrapped around a tree, or wrapped around anything, I suppose. And that's one option. It also has a standard mount here, so any sort of tripod or anything that would be made to mount a camera of any kind, whether it's a trail camera or a camera for filming, they all have this standard size mount, and this fits into that. So if you have something like that, it will work to mount this as well. Another thing I really love about this camera is that it has remote firmware updates, which can be huge because previous SpyPoint models, they could start to go a little bit goofy on you, much like your phone might do or your laptop might do, where it starts getting kind of weird. You're like, stuff's just kind of goofy right now. I don't know what's going on. You go into your settings, you check it. Oh, it needs to be updated. And then once you run the update, usually everything's fine. Well, the previous SpyPoint models would do a similar thing. They'd start being kind of goofy, acting up. You're not sure what's wrong with it. But if you wanted to check on that, you would have to go to where the camera is, take the camera off the tree, plug it into a laptop, somewhere where you have service, find out whether or not it needs to be updated, and then update it manually. Well, this SpyPoint Flex takes all of that out of the picture. It can actually update the firmware remotely. So it'll tell you on your app, hey, the firmware needs to be updated, and it will update it from the comfort of your home. You don't have to go out and get it. You don't have to connect this to anything. It can just update automatically, which can be really, really huge. Once again, it's another feature that SpyPoint has incorporated so that it doesn't mess with your transmission of photos and videos. You're going to be getting all the pictures, all the videos that this thing takes. It's eliminated so much of the guesswork and so many of the problem areas that might hurt your camera and hurt your ability to actually receive the photos and videos. And last but not least, this camera does come with a 2-year warranty so that you can be sure if anything goes wrong, you're going to be covered, and you can kind of protect your investment a little bit this way, because these cameras can get to be a little bit pricey. Now, these retail for about $170, but pretty much we've been able to find these for $100 to $110 pretty much every week. Any week that you'd be looking in the market to maybe add to your collection, get another camera, there's always going to be a place, whether it's Fleet Farm or Shields or whatever, there's always going to be some place that has this on sale, selling it for about $100 to $110, and that's a really good deal, especially for a new product like this. You really can't beat it. You're not going to find a lot of cell cameras that are much cheaper than that. I know some of the older SpyPoint models you can sometimes get for like the $75 to $80 range, and those are actually really good too. We have a couple of those and don't have any complaints, but for a new model with all these features that you can get for about $100 to $110 most of the time, that's a really, really good deal. And when you add in that 2-year warranty, you really can't beat it. All right, well, I think that's enough talking for now. Let's get this camera set up in the woods. Let's take some pictures, take some videos, and really see what this camera is made of. All right, well, we've got the new camera all set up in a good spot, and we're actually on a new piece of property that I'm still working out. I'm trying to get permission to hunt it. I've got full permission to be out here, have a camera set up, all that kind of stuff. We're all good on all that. Just don't quite have permission to hunt it yet, but we're still working on it. But we've got our camera set up now, and I think it's in a pretty decent spot. Like I said, being a new property, I don't have a ton to go off of, but I'm kind of seeing a couple of converging trails here, and I think this is going to be a good area. So now all we've got to do is turn it back on just like we did before, and then we'll hit the format button, make sure the SD card is all good to go, and then we'll hit the test button, and that should take a couple pictures of me walking around doing my thing. That way I can really make sure that this is exactly where I want it, that the angles all look good, and more importantly, make sure that it's working and actually sending pictures to my phone. And if all of that is looking good, we'll walk away and let it go for a while and see what kind of pictures and videos we can get. Okay, so we've had the camera out for about a week now, so that's going to give me the chance to share my phone screen with you guys, take you through the app, and see what kind of pictures and videos we were able to take. So we're going to start out on this main screen on the SpyPoint app. This is going to show you all your different cameras that you have, so you can obviously label them. It's going to show you what kind of a percentage of signal you have, what kind of battery percentage you're at, and then your photo transmission plan and all that sort of thing. But it's a good way to organize all your cameras and be able to kind of keep tabs on them, see what kind of signal they have, and see what kind of battery they have. It'll let you know if one of them died, which can be really, really useful. Then we can go over to our photos. Now this is going to stockpile all the photos from every single camera that you have out there. So as you can see, you can scroll right through the app here, and it's going to have everything linked up from all the different cameras that you may have. Now you can go up to the camera button and you can select specifically which one you'd like to look at. So for this case, the new camera that we're reviewing today is the secret spot. We'll come up with a better name, but for now that's what we've got. So then it filters through everything, and now you can just see the pictures that were taken by that camera specifically, and it filters out all the other ones. You can go up to the top as well, filter out by species. Now for the basic plan that you can get through the SpyPoint app, you can filter out and look for bucks specifically. Any of these other categories, you do have to be a SpyPoint Insiders Club member, but you can filter out if it is a buck or a doe. Same thing with the media types. You can filter out if you just want to see videos, you can go there, video previews and pictures, and then favorites is also a premium feature. You can go over to their mapping software. Now this can show you the map of everywhere, but this specifically shows you where your camera with GPS is. So this SpyPoint Flex has that GPS enabled like I was talking about. So now you can actually see specifically where that camera is. It could be kind of nice if you don't visit it very often to try and help you get back there in case you forgot to mark it on a map or something like that. Or if it got stolen, you know, something goes wrong. you can still keep tabs on it like that. And I would show you the bigger picture here, but you know, obviously we want to kind of keep this property under wraps. And then you've got the weather. So once again, this can be kind of nice. It gives you the temperature, obviously. It does have a little bit of a forecast. And then things that you would be looking for as a hunter, specifically the precipitation, the wind, and the pressure, sunrise and sunset, and then the moon phase. But let's go over and look at some of these pictures. So we've got it filtered to just this camera, and let's see what kind of pictures and videos we were able to take. So it started off with me setting it up, as you guys saw, and we took a couple of test pictures. And yeah, there's me walking around. As you can see, it's a pretty good picture. The sun's in a weird spot right now, which does give it a little bit of a haze, but now as you can see, the sun goes down. Just a few hours after I got out of there, we had our first customer. That looks like a nice, healthy doe walking through there. And oh, we got another one. There's two. We had a little guy joining her. Looks like she stuck around. Both of them did. They're kind of milling around there. Oh, look at that. Yep, front and center. So obviously, this is not a very grainy picture. It's pretty good. I mean, you could tell plain as day if that's a buck. If that's one of your target bucks, you're going to be able to count every single point. It takes really, really good pictures. Now we're getting into some low light, and now it's nighttime. We've got one walking by there. Still going. Just kind of scroll through them here, but now, I mean, as a nighttime picture, this is also pretty good. We've got a lot of branches here. Just the spot that I picked kind of picks up on a lot of those, but it picks up the deer really well. Hey, look at you. Right up close and personal. This one has got a belly on it. There must be a fawn or two cooking in there. It's got a big old belly. Oh, yeah. All right. Still going. It's daytime now. Ooh, these are some of our video previews here that we're going to be getting into, I believe. So this one, if we go back out here, yes, let's see. Just being a bit of a pain right now. There we go. So you can see this is what the videos show up just regularly. So if you have it in video mode, it'll take it as like a preview. So it'll show up in the app as like a 3-photo burst going through it, just as you can see now. And then if you want to get the full video, you can click on that, or you can click on the full HD button and you can download the full video. And that is similar to what we did here. So I can take you through this now, and you can see the full video, the doe just jumping through there. We've got another preview, so you can see the 3-photo burst, which is kind of nice because it kind of allows you to see whether or not it is a video that you want to fully download. This one looked interesting, so check that out. Yeah, pretty cool. This one, that might be a buck. I'm guessing that's a buck based on the head. I think I saw a couple of nubs up there, and they'll be starting before too long. But yeah, so that looked like a good video. So we took that one. Took this one then as well, and it's just nice. You have it all organized right here in the app. You can blow it up a little bit bigger. I love it. I mean, if that was one of your target bucks, that would just be an awesome video right there. So we can keep going through here. We've got some more. This one I think might have been a coyote. I don't know. What do you think? I'm pretty sure that's a coyote, but just with this, I think that was a snowflake or something that must have been coming through there. I don't think that's a branch. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't really pop up anymore. See, it's gone. So that made it a little bit tough to tell, but I think that was a coyote. Just going through once again, up close and personal. This seems like a great spot. I mean, you can really see out to that field quite a bit. And then obviously right here is where a couple of trails converge, and you can see they're just kind of going every which way through here, in and out. Afternoon. Now we've got a trespasser. This was interesting. I don't know who this guy is, but I don't know for sure that it's a trespasser, but obviously we want to keep tabs on that. Now we've got a whole mitt full of them, so at least he brought the deer through. Whoa, and there they all are. Yeah, 4 of them, the whole herd, up close and personal. This is a pretty cool picture. I like this one. This one we actually downloaded as a full HD picture. So you can see here, you go up to the full HD tab. If I can hit it, come on. Oh, it won't let me because I already bought it as full HD. So like this one, if we wanted to buy it full HD, it'll come up like this. You can confirm it and it'll give you a full high definition picture the next time it sends pictures through to your phone. This, I believe, is another buck. It's got a real big blocky head. I think that's a couple of bucks there. But once again, nighttime pictures, fantastic. Still has a really, really good range, even at nighttime, even with all the branches in the way. I mean, this picked up a deer walking way back there out in the field, and it still got it. So yeah, we can go through a little bit. We'll skip a couple here. Yeah, you can still go through. Then you get back into daytime, go through a couple of them. We had our first turkey show up. Kind of an ugly little guy. I don't know what's going on with him. We did see one when we were shed hunting this property that we were able to get really, really close to. Thought maybe he was sick, but then he flew away, so I don't know. But pretty cool to have a turkey show up on there. And then we had some more nighttime activity. There's been a lot of activity on this property, and this one is weird because we had this deer decide to come and bed down right there. And she stayed, I'll scroll through a bunch. She stayed, got up, and then stretched out a little bit and ended up going right back down. You can see, just stayed there for a while. Back up, back down. Never had one bed in front of our camera before. I know some people get those, but yeah, we've never had that. So that was pretty cool as well. But that's pretty much the SpyPoint app, and you can see back to daytime here. These were all this morning yet. So first off, I guess we put it in a pretty good spot. I'm pretty happy about that. But you can see it really takes good pictures. I mean, this is about as good a picture as you're going to get, especially for a cell camera trying to send pictures. You know, just over a signal like that, it can be pretty tough. There's some pretty big files to send. So overall, I've been really, really impressed by the pictures it takes, by the videos it takes, how easy it is for them to send the pictures over. We haven't had any issues with delays or anything. It sends them very quickly, and it takes some really good pictures and some really, really good videos. All right, guys, well, there you have it on the new SpyPoint Flex. I really love this thing. It's come a long way from where cell cameras have started, and SpyPoint has really done a great job of upgrading a lot of the key features and troubleshooting a lot of the things that might lead to your camera not sending you the pictures or the videos that it's taking. And there is nothing more frustrating than spending a ton of money on a bunch of new cell cameras and then they don't send you the pictures. You have the new and improved antenna, which allows the camera to sense which signal is going to be the strongest from all the service providers in your area and automatically switch between them so it's always on the strongest one. That's the biggest feature that's going to allow you to make sure you're always getting the pictures that it's taking. But it also has the formatting the SD card button, it has the test button, and it can automatically update the firmware from the comfort of your home. You don't have to go and take it out of the woods to get this thing updated. All of these things make sure that this camera is going to stay working properly and actually sending you the photos and videos that it takes, and that is so huge. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more awesome content, and maybe leave us a comment. What do you think of this new SpyPoint? Is it something that you've run before? Is it something you would consider running? Maybe you have another brand that you are just a die-hard fan, you love it, this is the one I go with. Leave us a comment, let us know, and maybe we'll review that one too and take a look at it. So we appreciate you guys watching. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.